Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the official ARK Podcast number 52. My name is Brad, and I'm here with the core team. Your host tonight, as always, a dedicated leader, Atlas. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you for the introduction, Brad. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ARK. This is Atlas, and this is a fantastic evening. It is Thursday. Oh, I'm getting an echo, whoever. Thank you. It is Thursday, and today we had a fantastic AMA over here at ARK. We were hosted by the great folks over at the DeFi Club, hosted by Mr. Chris Durden. It is posted in our announcements channel, and I believe as well pinned here in the main chat if you guys want to go and check out our presentation to that group. Went a bit long, about an hour and a half, but great questions and another opportunity for doing, what we love to do here, which is talk about ARK, going out there, answering questions, winning hearts and minds, and making a proposition to investors of what we have to offer, what's so special, what's so important for the long term, for this bear market, right? That folks can really, do their due diligence and take the time to learn and come on board. We don't discriminate. We take all kinds of degens, humans, animals. We got chicken wings for dinner on the ARK, tofu if you're vegan. All right, great menu for everyone, and Spark Rewards, which is now, if you look at the screen that we're sharing, 92 ARK that's going to be given away here shortly. It'll be our fourth drawing. So look, we're seeing this grow, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well through the updates. But we have also tonight at 3 a.m. UTC time, we'll be over with Mr. Yudaman with his community over in Korea. So looking forward to that. He's an investor here. He is the admin and really the ambassador for ARK in our ARK official channel and runs that very well. Good friend of SK Crypto K, who introduced us a while back. So a great honor to be invited over there and talk about ARK to these amazing investors that are looking for, great earning opportunity. And, they also qualify for using the Ultimo product. So we want to talk about Ultimo too. I don't know if Mr. Jedi, you're able to come on over for that one. But I know those folks are definitely looking forward to some opportunity there with Ultimo for their offboarding.
I'll try and make it, Atlas. Shouldn't be a problem. Hopefully.
I think it'll be your 4 a.m. So kind of rough.
Okay. I should still be up by that time. You know me too well.
If you are, come on over. If not, I'll make sure to post your flag over there and talk a bit about what's going on, because they're also subject to a lot of these centralized exchange issues that are going around and wanting to have that secure, anonymous offboarding tool that you guys are furnishing for our investors, and that we have a lot of friends that are currently using them. Brett Norton has his Ultimo card. He's got his haircut, I think, yesterday, the day before with it. And Chris Dugan, there's a lot of folks we know that are using it, and they're just so happy doing their Christmas shopping and not having to worry. I mean, it's so easy as sending your crypto over to your offshore bank account and just going and cashing out or purchasing the items that you wish without, any concerns looking over your shoulders. Uncle Sam over there standing by the water cooler checking on what you're doing. So without further ado, we're going to bring Brett Norton over to give us the updates, information up to the last minute of what's happening here. So Mr. Brett Norton, go ahead. I'll go ahead while you're giving the update, and I will start preparing the spark to be drawn. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, appreciate the introduction. And everything's looking great. We've gotten a lot of the little bug fixes, I think, finished up. Some of the syncing issues in the backend servers and all those things are running smooth now, firing on all cylinders. We did have, during that kind of backend outage that we had the other day, we did have a missed legacy NFT payment. We're going to be pushing that manually to everyone's wallets. So if you are a legacy NFT holder, we'll announce when that happens. but Mr. Green's working on that right now. So that will probably be out in the next, I would imagine, before the end of tonight. But I don't have a specific time yet, but we'll let everybody know. But we're going to do a makeup payment for that missed one when the backend servers were down. Now the automated system is working fine, and those regularly scheduled payments shouldn't be an issue going forward. We've also seen the auto allocation systems working now really well. So those load issues that we had prior seem to be solved. We did have an update on the auto allocation today. As Mr. Big was talking about earlier, there were some people that did do some 100% manual compounds before starting their auto allocation. And if they didn't have a legacy NFT and they chose, let's say, the 1.5 CWR schedule, which is a new schedule that we pushed in the last couple days, then they would run the risk after probably 11 or 12 days or so of exceeding that 1.5 upper limit for their CWR. And so what we put in place, Alex and Jan did this today and pushed it out during the day today, is if that CWR is exceeded, the upper limit's exceeded by the auto allocation system, it will go ahead and do a 100% withdraw for you. And what it does is actually it does a check to see if you're close to the limit before it performs your normally scheduled 1.5 CWR. And then it will go ahead and do the 100% withdraw. So it kind of pushes your CWR back down, and then it continues on the schedule. If it runs into that problem again, it would do the 100% withdraw and then continue on the schedule again. So you won't have any missed days, but just keep aware that if you were running up towards that upper limit when you started the auto allocation, you may have some ARK tokens in your wallet from that automated withdrawal that will happen to make sure that that the system keeps running and you don't get a bunch of failed transactions. So that's about it on my end. We are still collecting feature requests. So if you do have any feature requests, be sure to DM myself or just even put it in the main TG and one of the admins will grab it. If you're seeing any bugs, we are aggressively fixing those as fast as we possibly can. So we have a bug list and then also a feature request list. I believe all of the bug fixes are done right now, as of now. So we haven't run into any new UI issues that we're aware of. But if those do pop up, we are aggressively addressing those and then taking any feature requests related to the syndicate viewer, for example, or people have talked about it, a multi-wallet type dashboard would be another feature that would go on the list. What we're doing is we're going through these as a team, prioritizing them, and then tackling them. So some of them have design elements, some of them have coding elements, and we're sort of sifting and sorting through those, seeing which ones are nice to haves or must haves, and then we're just knocking them down, as we go through the list. So that's about it from my end. We do have an AMA tonight, and we are continuing our aggressive AMA schedule. And so marketing's going great. The system looks strong. Everything looks healthy. All of our yields on Foundation, Legacy NFT, the Vault, everything's performing as we would expect, and we're really excited about what we've accomplished so far.
All right. Thank you so much, Brett, for that update. And after we finish here, the Spark Rewards will open up to some questions. Maybe somebody wants to ask and further clarify some of those updates you just gave. So look, we're pretty much ready here to go ahead and do the giveaway for this evening. And it's looking like it's going to be 92 ARK. So let's just go ahead and get it started. 1 second. All right. And there it goes. Should be updating here really quickly. There we go. It's been paid out. All right, guys. And here we have our new winner. ending in ED54. Congratulations, you have won 92.03 ARK. We're going to be posting a banner shortly with the information that we'll push out here to the announcements, the main chat pinned, and to our groups. And for those of you guys that are in other groups as well, if you want to collaborate here and send that banner out, forward it over to those groups. So maybe somebody that's in those groups learns through your forward of that message that they have been selected, randomly selected, we should say, as the winner of tonight's Spark Rewards. Let's get this crypto, guys. Fantastic, man. This is becoming my favorite part of the podcast. Quite fun, very smooth process. And those ARK rewards are sitting there in their ARK vault for them to go ahead and put them on the right side of the contract, which is in the ARK vault, and start to compound and follow their strategy to get that growth. At the price that we're looking at today, let me see if I can calculate it for you in a second. All right. Give it a quick second, guys. Let's go take a look at our chart, by the way. Got a little update for you guys as well there. So we're looking at we have the price actually right here. Let's go actually right back to where we were. So we're looking at
$540.21.
Thank you for that. Not a bad day while everyone's sitting back getting that passive income. So great to see. And we're seeing the market cap grow. We're also seeing the winners grow down to 4. Our Spark paid out has been 271. So if we took here, let me do a little math on that one too. How much has been paid out? Yeah, we're looking at $1,590.77 in 4 days. I think that's a win for a lot of those folks, and expect it to keep on growing. So let's turn it over and see if anyone has a question regarding the updates that Mr. Brett gave us just right now.
5.87. 540.
Do you have a question, Mr. Crypto Unlimited?
No, I just unmuted myself on accident. But good job tonight, guys. Good job on the whole project. Everything's just working awesome. I'm so excited to wake up every morning and check my account and go through and do my my compounding and my claiming. And I actually compounded my bond rewards token today for the first time. And even though I'm just starting off, with a one referral level downline, I was able to compound almost $3, and it's only been 3 days. So that, accumulates as well pretty good. So it's awesome to put that back in my balance and watch it grow. It's just been an awesome experience since the start, and I hope we continue to run smooth like this, and we continue to keep this dynamic liquidity controller rolling. And, it's been a great thing to be able to talk about. I've been creating videos on it. I got one planned tomorrow just to be specifically on the legacy NFTs. And I'm going to break each section down bite-sized pieces and try to educate the whole crypto community. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, man.
I watched your video today. You and DeFi Diva. I love it. It's such a cool little format you guys have going because it's so real and, it's kind of intimate, and you guys have yourselves on camera, which is cool to see. And it's like, you guys just diving into it and, explaining it the best you can based on, what you know and really learning and digging into it. And I see you active in the chat as well. So great job. Keep up the hard work. It's going to pay off, I'm sure.
Thank you, guys.
What? Let's get this crypto. Oh, God damn.
Oh, yeah. Let's get this crypto.
So something we want to actually bring up to show you is the chart and what the liquidity controller is doing. And we're seeing price, being, in this dynamic range. I've lowered it so that you could see almost a curved sort of flat line. Very unique. I don't think any of us have seen a chart quite like this before. But if we would have let it just run, right, without the intelligent liquidity controller, our price would be right now around the range of $12.49. And I know that we could all understand, like, wow, that would have been a major, like, nice couple of X's. It's a good return, right? So we understand that we're making a sacrifice here, guys, to not have that instant gratification that so many folks have become not only used to, but in my opinion, addicted to in this space of getting that super, extreme fast reward and then going to the next and the next. And in my opinion, those days are over. That's not what's happening right now. And the few things that are moving in that direction, they all, have this extreme pump and then, an even more extreme dump where it's that whole theory of, hey, buy the dip. I mean, it's become almost like a mantra for the fools that are just getting taken for a ride in our exit liquidity for, the folks that, maybe didn't get in the whitelist, but, they got a little bit in after launch. A couple of days later, they're coming and dumping on those folks that are buying that dip. So, we've mitigated that and put it into a structure that you can see here. Generally, we've avoided it. I put these little rockets going up to the moon, right? The moonshot, and avoiding the up, right? So that we can mitigate that extreme down. And it's not just the liquidity controller here. You're understanding that there are no tokens from private and public sale investors or team advisors. Everyone here is under the same rules of having to earn their rewards out through time, making a sacrifice today to have a much brighter tomorrow. So this is happening right here in front of us. And as you can see, if we zoom in a bit here, the way that this is really functioning, pretty much most of this, since we don't have that sell pressure, because even the folks that are buying after launch are going directly into the ARK vault. This is the magic of the intelligent liquidity controller. This is on a 1 hour time frame. We can go to a 15 and smooth it out a little bit more. You can see it in action. You can also scroll down or here up to be able to see how it's working to match some of these sales, but it's not exactly an exact science. Like, here 474, then a 421. I like to say this is not your grandmother's LMS, right? This is a very sophisticated piece of software that is really, collecting. I believe right now we have around $260 of BUSD that have been collected through this process, saving us from, I think, a very understandable stigma, which is if price, guys, was really, really at the top, right here around that, 1250 level, we all kind of can understand that a lot of folks seeing price up here where the moon is would think they missed out. They'd be, complaining and crying, because we've heard them all the time, guys. I missed out, I couldn't come in, only those guys that were able to get in, before launch, they're doing well. And it's the same old story over and over again. I mean, the story that I think most folks have become sick and tired of seeing the same, 1% of the devs' friends, take advantage of those folks that have connections to get on the whitelist and come and dump. So we've avoided all that on purpose because we're sick and tired of it. So this is what you get when you take the time, and not only do you do it on the contracts and the whole tokenomics, but you're also managing it and turning it into a positive. We're going out and having these AMA guys and telling people, what do you mean you missed out? We just launched 4 days ago and look what price is doing. How beautiful is that? How is that going to look in 3 months, in 4 months, in 5 months? It's not pegged. It's not a flat line that you got to, sit there and panic if it moves a little up or down, which is generally how your grandmother's LMS works. No, this is a very different piece of software, and the algorithm's learning and it's getting better. We have a V2 coming out soon for this, and we're able to adjust it. If we want to go higher, we have a lot of volume. Hey, let's let it breathe a little bit, but keeping always the philosophy and understanding that you don't want price to get away so high that folks are going to feel they got left out and they don't want to invest. This is not a trading token. This is a passive income yield token that needs to stay in a sustainable long-term range, that someone that comes here 6 months from now, a year from now, is going to sit back and say, wow, this is brilliant. This is genius. I want to be a part of this. Let's get this crypto. Are there any other questions or comments? Go ahead.
I was thinking maybe try it. If you go back to your chart there, I haven't looked at this, but maybe switch from the candle indicator to the line indicator.
Okay, right there.
Yeah, I just a live experiment. It's cool. Yeah.
It's beautiful. I mean, everyone's getting price appreciation.
Yeah, but you can see it. You can see how the it is dynamic, and you can. Damn it! Hate that. My connection tries to switch over my Wi-Fi, but sorry about that. Yeah, you can see how it's still it's still adjusting, and it's moving, and it's dynamic. It's not a peg by any means. So.
Absolutely. So, we're talking about a roughly an 11%. Let's go ahead and measure it. Appreciation in 4 days. That's respectable. That's something we can stand behind. And it's something that folks can understand that the bus didn't leave them. The ARK has, officially, on the water, it's built, it's sailing. But, anyone's able to come on board. I mean, we've got the, the helicopters, we got the dinghies, we got some luxury little boats to pull up right alongside and, get you on board. So this is exactly what we set out to do, guys. And I hope you're able to really understand it. And if you don't, we would love to elaborate further for you. That's what we're here to do on these AMAs. So is there anybody that might have a question or a comment? We'd love to hear from you guys.
I was just going to say, Atlas, it's more like the ARK is docking and picking more people up rather than leaving for anywhere. It's just docking every now and then, picking more people up. It's just a great system, the way it's been worked out and designed, and it's doing what it's doing. And like you say, no one's late, so that's great. And full kudos to the team.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, Atlas, Terry Tibbs had a question in the main chat about the external investments, and maybe if we had any updates or timing that we could share on that.
Well, look, absolutely. We've talked about it extensively. This is the 52nd podcast that we do, and we talked about it in AMAs as well. And the opportunities are there. We could sign a contract tomorrow. Obviously, that's not feasible, as we want to present all of the contracts, documentation, company info, balance sheets of who we're going to do business with to the DAO, so that they could go and do their own analysis, due diligence, and come back to the table. Give them a couple of weeks to find a time to understand what the opportunity is, what the risk is, and also to help us decide, how much to allocate towards each opportunity, as we do not want to put all of our eggs in one basket. We want to diversify. We want to be smart about what we do with investors' funds. So the opportunities are absolutely available. However, we have to take into consideration the fact that we only are able to invest what we have been able to raise through the sales of the NFT, in particular, meaning the legacy NFT pool. So as that starts to fill up and we get to a substantial amount that is, worthy of spending the time and having a DAO vote and presenting through our fiduciary duty to the investors those opportunities, we'll do so. But right now, I think we're far from, being in a position that we can, go ahead and make that investment presentation for everybody for a vote. I hope that helps you, Mr. Terry Tibbs. Great question. Anyone else have a question? All right, folks. Mr. Z, are you on board?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you guys hear me?
Come right over here to the bridge, man. Step right in. Do you have some news, some updates for the community here of what's happening on those crypto streets of the DeFi world?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So Brazil has been in the news today quite a bit, and just recently, in the last 5 hours, we've just found out that they're the first ones to pass the crypto bill. So now people can use cryptocurrencies as a mainframe financial service, and people in the banks and the sort of real estate industry will be using. I think 7 different cryptocurrencies have been approved, and we're going to be seeing it being regulated. And there's going to also be a fraud prevention agency in line with the federal government. So things like our meme coins and stuff will be taken to court if they do promote themselves in Brazil. So this is a small little sample of what's upcoming. So Brazil just passed it. And even though, I mean, we've had other countries like El Salvador and the Belize and other islands sort of pass a similar bill, but Brazil has the biggest population and the biggest like sort of young community upcoming, and a bunch of developers come from Brazil for Ethereum and Polkadot and Cardano. So this is big news. It just came out just now, about 5 hours ago. They just passed the crypto bill. So that's the first thing that sort of hits everyone's eyes. Vitalik Buterin has been doing a bit of talking as well, and he was asked a few critical questions. And asked where the opportunities arise right now in cryptocurrency, especially with the bearish market that we see. And he said a few statements. If you don't mind me, I'm just going to read them out. So the first statement is, if you can make a stable coin that can actually survive anything up to now, including a US dollar superinflation, that's a huge opportunity. As well, if you can create something that will feel like a lifeline for everyone going through this situation. So that's the first thing, because the stable coins have been going through a bit of a depegging sort of issue. So that's one thing he points out. Then he points out, if you can get signed in with Ethereum to work, and if you can unseat Facebook, Google, and Twitter as the login overlords. So that's the other thing, the sort of KYC standards that decentralized sort of social media companies and major silicon companies hold. So he's sort of pointing out into getting Ethereum ID'd through NFTs there. So he goes there. There's many different things that still need innovating in DeFi. So that's his statement there. Then we can sort of look into, I'm trying to avoid the Sam Bankman-Fried thing, but I think because it's in the news, so I'll kind of mention it here. So he has been extradited to the U.S. And his parents have put up a $250 million bond, so he can spend Christmas at home. And there's a bunch of hearings there that I think that all sort of take place. Thus far, the insights that we get about FTX is they did last month sort of open withdrawals for the Bahama sort of you can say locals, so people in Bahamas that had their sort of tokens on FTX were able to withdraw, and we believe that's what sort of created the time scales of him sort of going public the way he did with all the statements. So that's something that's big news. So he's in the US right now, and he's gonna go through a bunch of hearings. And then the third thing is, I think a lot of people are kind of freaked out from what's happened on the centralized exchange. But the CEO of Pantera came out this week, and he gave a really good tweet. So I'm going to kind of read this to you guys. So he goes here: if you can't trust FTX, who can you trust? So he goes, there's two-pronged answers here. So he goes, there's regulated exchanges that are doing great work, such as Coinbase, Bitstamp. And then in the DeFi communities, there's some real DEXs that are doing pretty well, like Uniswap, Balancer. DeFi has been doing pretty well, and Breeder Dodo is another sort of NFT place that basically he believes are going to be taking over a bunch of the sort of you can say backlog that these centralized exchanges have been leaving. So that's a pretty encouraging act there. So because there are exchanges like Coinbase, Kraken, and Bitstamp that when a client sends money to them, they just put it in a bank. The solution is pretty straightforward. So that's how centralized exchanges are working currently. So that's the news there. Then I think as we get through the next few days and weeks, I'm going to start to yesterday I kind of went into the NFT rabbit hole. But yeah, so that's the news up till now. Anyone has any comments or anything that they want to kind of share or ask questions about, we can look into it.
You had a rough crowd tonight. Boys are quiet.
Yeah, today it's very, very quiet. Either people are compounding and claiming, or looking at the charts, or like briefing their teams about updates. But yeah, I mean, if no one has any questions for that, like I'd like to go into Radium a little bit because they have started to like give pretty like enormous details about the hacks that they've been going through. Solana's been going through a bunch of it recently, and the way they do is they do through gas fees. So someone puts a transaction through Radium, and basically like the hacker makes claims of like lower gas fee by a link, and that's how they've been sort of hacking into Radium. So Radium have given if you go to their Twitter, they've given a whole sort of a rundown of all the episodes that they've been going through, because they've been hit hard recently. So that's the news on Radium, and I just believe like that's what DeFi goes through first. I think first is sort of you have the first offset of tokens and platforms that come out. And then they go through a lot of, you can say, auditing, and then even after all the auditing, when the sort of audience and the crowd comes in, it comes in like Jumanji and sort of hits all the sort of security breaches, and things like Anchor, Radium, and even in the centralized world, like we saw it happen to Curve, where hacks were made. But fortunately for like Curve, it was a white hacker, and they actually employed him after that. So that's where DeFi is right now. I think it's still we're still in the wild west stage where it's still unregulated. As I said, Brazil are the first sort of big nation to pass the crypto bill, and we'll see how regulation takes place there. And yeah, apart from that, we are in a sideways movement on Bitcoin, on Ethereum. So we'll see how March is another thing that's like I'll repeat again. It's going to be a big month where the Shanghai hard fork will be giving folks the opportunity to unstake their Ethereum. So I personally expect a dip in price, and then once you have a dip in price in Ethereum, that sort of hits DeFi, and will have a domino effect on other things, but then that creates the bottom floor for people to buy it up. So yeah, the Ethereum the Shanghai hard fork will allow folks to unstake their Ethereum. So some people have been staking there for a couple of years now. The Beacon Chain stake pool opened up in, I believe, August of 2020. And now after a couple of years, it's just like pre-sellers getting their tokens and then you have a dip in price. So we expect the same thing to happen with Ethereum in the month of March and April. And yeah, that's the major news. And then I think from now on, I'm gonna not just talk about news, but we'll sort of like really talk about NFTs and also the staking mechanisms, because there is a bunch of total value locked in DeFi Llama. I've been looking into a bunch of different protocols that have been locking a bunch of new liquidity. And that's the first thing. I think the first thing that needs to be improved when it comes to DeFi, people sort of talk about metaverse and the use case of NFTs, but I think the first thing that needs overhauling is the banking environment, and that's why we have things like ARK, so we can give investors a better return, a better ROI on their hold, and that's the first thing that needs to be reconfigured is the banking industry. I will be doing a talk at Barclays next Tuesday in front of their you can say that their head of department in London. So I think they're going to be asking me all these same questions of where do we start? Is it the NFTs? Is it the marketplace? Is it the sort of you can say investment vehicles that we have? So I'll be preparing notes for that. But yeah, I think like the first improvement that needs to be done is in the banking industry, because currently when it comes to payment plans, when it comes to loans, mortgages, and also leasing capabilities, and also into the sort of you could say self-employment stages, there's a lack of you can say options and also transparency. So I think the banking industry is the first thing that needs to be sort of overwritten, and that's going to happen with like products like the products we have here, of you can say farming and staking, and then from there it sort of builds into the real estate market and how people sort of refinance their loans, their mortgages, and to see how DeFi can sort of solve that out. And then once you've hit the banking industry and given people better products, then you see more stabilization in sort of the main currencies, in the dollar, into the euro, into the yen, into the pound. But yeah, that's a rabbit hole we will go through in the next few days and weeks. But yeah, that's far. Like, I'll ask the crowd any questions. Where's Florida Realtor and Neto when you need them?
I was trying to see Nito here tonight. But I did want to see if you could expand more on the Brazil. Did you mention that people that were promoting meme tokens would have issues? Did I hear correctly?
Yeah. So what happens is there is going to be an agency that will be overlooking the promotion of meme coins and sort of high inflationary ones. So things like tokens that have utility, like your stable coins and your sort of Ethereums and Bitcoins, they won't be going through it as much as, let's say, a Doge or a Shiba or a fork of any of those things. When they get into Brazil and they're promoting on billboards and promoting through Facebook advertisements or anything, targeting, and if people are hit by it, then there's going to be a bunch of you can say penalties that these sort of companies will go through, and a bunch of them will get banned because Brazil was hit hard. A bunch of folks lost a lot of money, just like a lot of people in the sort of meme coins. But now, if it happens in Brazil, there are going to be repercussions for fraud, and that would mean folks will be banned from promoting their tokens in Brazil or entering the country of Brazil. So that's pretty big. And we believe the law will be passed in June 2023. That's the approximate date.
Oh, that's really interesting. I see that as a major kind of pivot point for the worldwide markets right around that point. We're going to have a tough spring in the equities and markets, and out of control interest rates, things like that, and then maybe a stabilization, maybe a pivot in the summertime, right around that time. So that's very interesting timing. What's interesting to me also about that one is they're a BRICS nation, so I've been keeping an eye on sort of what BRICS is doing, because they're sort of leading the rest of the world in terms of crypto regulations and CBDCs, and we know Russia and China and even India has been pushing harder for regulation and also clarity, and then making pretty vocal statements about what their CBDC is. They've also been publicly announcing, hoarding gold, and in the case where maybe they have an asset-backed CBDC at one point or even in the near future. So yeah, that timing is very interesting and could give us some indications of when shakeout regulatory clarity is coming for a lot of countries, not just Brazil, but maybe the rest of the BRICS nations as well.
Yeah. You can say like right now for me, Brazil holds a big sort of, you can say, a big, it's going to be a testing ramp. It's going to, like, I would call it like the DeFi test net on regulation, because I think we've had El Salvador, we've had Belize, we've had United Arab Emirates sort of pass bills and make it a legitimate factor, but they don't hold a population of 210 million the way Brazil does. And it's going to be a big sort of statement, especially with a bunch of sort of, you can say, meme coins that we see get promoted, but also to see how the stablecoin metrics works, because that's what that's what the bill is sort of focused on is payments in stablecoins, and I do have some news on that. In fact, so stablecoins in 2022 surpassed a settlement reach of $7 trillion in transactions. They predict by the end of the year, by the end of this month, we will surpass $8 trillion transacted in stablecoins. And this is news from Visa. Visa came out with this news, so it's something that I will be sharing notes on. But yeah, so $7 trillion up till now, $7 trillion has been transacted in stablecoins this year.
Wow. What's funny is I see, like Visa and MasterCard kind of being this this umbrella over all of the kind of noise that's happening from crypto custody, crypto banking. They seem sort of immune to all of that. They're just like, I know Visa has some things going on with Ethereum and some other things. They're just sort of like shrugging off all the drama and, the regulatory drama, I should say. And any of the stuff even happening with like, FTX and Celsius and these meltdowns, they just seem to be like, hey, we're a payment layer. We don't care how you pay. And that's how we're going to make our money, through our network. And if you want to use crypto or some version of crypto, possibly, that would be fine with them. At least it seems that way publicly at this point. What are your thoughts on that, Z?
Yeah, I mean, down to it, like when Visa and MasterCard started to open up the payments, I was looking at the relationship with sort of Binance and their relationship with Crypto.com, because when Crypto.com released their first cards, it was a Visa debit card, and to see that sort of Visa adopted that sort of market as well as they have, which means they're open to experimentation. It's not just Visa, it's MasterCard, Amex, and Discover. Like, these are sort of active, you can say, debit and credit cards that are allowing folks in Europe and in US, and now in big parts in sort of South America, to basically transact, and for them to surpass $7 trillion. Up till now, the highest transacted stablecoin is USDT. So Tether has done approximately 140 billion of that per month in transactions. And then that's followed by, you can say, USDC, which has done an average of $44 billion per month. So we're seeing, so I think that's one sort of green light to think where sort of stablecoins are putting a faster transaction rate than any, you can say, currency out there. So that is positive for me. and there's going to be a bunch of more reveals as we get through this year. So as we have a bearish market, as we're sort of getting a hang of regulation, and I think Brazil is the first one now. I think this will be followed up with a few other nations. But yeah, Brazil is a big stepping stone. I want to see how basically the governance of that holds, and how much do folks have the sort of voting mechanism, because that's what DeFi is about. You want the community, you want like the people of Sao Paulo, or the people of, you can say, Rio de Janeiro, to be able to vote on the kind of products that they want. And I hope they allow DeFi to, in fact, have its consensus in Brazil. So it starts off with payments, it starts off with banking, but then it comes to a proof of stake, and that's where DeFi and sort of the government will be in sort of I'll say a conflict of interest, but then you get into a settlement scheme. So we'll see how that sort of builds up. There's a bunch to be said there. But yeah, I give kudos to Lula, the new Brazilian president, to really pass this through before Christmas.
Yeah, that's great movement. I mean, it's one of the largest nations we've seen kind of step forward with clear regulation. So when you were doing your Binance research, did you see any parallels with the BRICS nations? And we know they're doing their, CBDC rails, and they're going to have infrastructure for that. But was there any indications that, BNB would have, connections into that, or on and off ramps, or anything related to what the BRICS nations are doing, or what they're laying down in terms of like payment rails, or, layer one infrastructure, anything like that?
Thus far, when it comes to, you can say, CBDCs, the sort of platforms that are like, really taking up that sort of, mechanism and sort of building on a bunch of peer-to-peer reviews are Tezos and Stellar Lumen. And Stellar Lumen, I think I mentioned yesterday, where they have sort of released a wallet for people in Ukraine to be able to transact their USDC into fiat. So when it comes to CBDCs, those are the two sort of places that I kind of look into, and I start to like look into their sort of wikis and sort of their development ramps and test nets. So have I looked into it as much as I should be? Maybe not, but Binance and its sort of stablecoin BUSD is something I do have my eyes on, because in the last week or so, you can say Binance did go through a situation where they were lacking a bunch of USDC, and they were taking sort of transactions. They're giving their customers BUSD as a stable coin, and they were, like, I think CZ was questioned about it on CNBC. So there is a bunch of development there, but Binance overall has got a financial derivative in the Emirates. They're the first of any centralized exchanges to be established with it. So yeah, I think Binance is established well. I think USDC is established well. Now we have to see, but I still feel CBDCs are way far away from launch. I don't see them happening anytime soon. I might be wrong, but that's what the data kind of shows, and especially like when you look into things like you can say these big forums. They haven't given a hint of, like, they've given a hint of adoption of crypto, but they haven't given enough on a launch for CBDCs. And then the other thing with CBDCs that I sort of see in parallel, I kind of feel like they will give more funding to things like stable coins and things like Ethereum and stuff, because I think they have unlimited printing, unlimited sort of capacity to print tokens, compared to like the limited side of, you can say, USDC or Ethereum or Bitcoin. So I think we're a couple of years away from releasing more metadata on basically CBDCs. I don't know if that answered a question or gave a suggestion, but I hope I gave some explanation there.
No, that's great. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we're watching, especially with our Ultimo partnership, my JDB bank card, which is out of Laos, that's the offshore bank that Ultimo is partnered with. It has a Visa symbol on it, and they're striving to be a crypto bank down the road at some point, and obviously involved in this project as well, just with fiat on ramp and off ramping. Sorry, so and the on ramping too. So it's interesting because they're a non-CRS bank, and it'll just seem like kind of like a game of musical chairs. When this regulation comes down, these non-CRS nations and ones that have established themselves with or aligned with crypto and DeFi, it'll be interesting to see which ones are available and which ones kind of boom because of it. So I'm just kind of keeping my eye on a lot of that. I know I sent you a video the other day and just about that whole, the regulatory, how they could create that reporting network across CRS banks as a way to kind of force that KYC, AML, and reporting globally on a crypto basis. But, so we're going to be looking for these kind of safe havens as we move forward. And that's why I think Ultimo is so exciting, because it is one of the last safe havens, or will be. That's why I think it'll do really well.
No, absolutely. The stuff you guys are doing at Ultimo is super amazing, and I hope here at our community and the community here, we support you in whatever you guys are doing, because you guys are doing real awesome work, and hopefully, I mean from here, the way I see it is these companies, they are basically proxies for what the public want. And if the public want stable coins and they want a way to pay in cryptocurrencies, I hope you guys also get on that wave. Yes, you go through storms. I think anything in Silicon Valley, anything in tech goes through a few storms, and we're kind of going through that right now. But do we stop using cryptocurrencies as payment structures and mechanisms? I don't think so. I think Visa and MasterCard are highly invested with Crypto.com and the many sort of Visa cards with other sort of things like you can say Monolith and there's other sort of mechanisms that Visa are involved, and even MasterCard. So and Revolut was another one. It was a case study I was studying, because I have friends that work within Revolut and how they use MasterCard as a payment structure. It's pretty fascinating. Yeah, things might look a bit rough when the storms are out, but I think overall, you folks at Ultimo and will be in a good state in the next quarter, in the next few quarters of 2023 and 4.
Yeah, great. Thanks for the update. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
I need a second, guys. We're taking care of the legacy rewards right now. I'll be right back. I'll just be muted.
No worries. Yeah, I mean, down to it, like my viewpoint is, when we started off in DeFi, when Uniswap was in version 1, we would educate the community about the many ecosystems that are going to be built. And then we talk about utility in a much more, you can say, brief and then detailed manner, because it's important for people to understand what launch pads are, what a stable coin is, and how these things can improve the way we do our banking, the way we do our sort of how we purchase our products online, how we look into security, how we look into immutable ledgers and sort of keeping things in a secure manner. And then learning its technology. So there was a bunch of learning, And then I think what happened was a bunch of, you can say, the NFT and the meme coin sort of phase kind of halted things a little bit. And instead of people asking for a roadmap, everyone was sort of searching for the next 100x. But I think now that bubble has bursted as well, in big fashion, where people we're currently, like, I think crypto.com, it was 3 months ago, I was kind of going through their sort of report on what their holdings are, what their vault holds, and to see that sort of Shiba and Doge was still top 5 showed where people are right now. And I think with education, with like sort of partnerships like Ultimo and having products the way we have with our legacy NFTs and bonds, I feel that it will sort of bring people back into the utility form and thinking long term about things. So yeah, there was a time when we go to Dex Tools and we go into sort of the Polkastarter's IDO Launchpad and we look for the next utility, and we do it till this day. But then for the past like year and a half, I think the meme coins like Doge and Shiba, and then other things in NFT form kind of overhauled a bunch of utility. But I think now that we've sort of seen the halts being done on centralized exchanges, the sort of withdrawal issues that we're having, and then when you see a bunch of projects like, create crashes on things like Solana, things like Arbitrum, I think we're going to be going through a next sort of a fix of sort of another you can say a storm of like who can sort of fix those issues, and the sort of engineers and the platforms that sort those out will become the next sort of, you can say, Barclays and JP Morgans and sort of be those sort of environments. So that's where DeFi will go through its iteration. So as much as there's emotions out there and people feel hurt, realize, guys, like, that's just how history works. History does not work with new inventions. It works in circles. And we went through the same thing with the dot-com bubble. And then back in the sort of 60s, 70s, 80s, we went through it with Bretwood when we pegged off gold. So we go through sort of, sometimes we go 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, sometimes 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. And we go through these phases. But these phases are as important as anything. We went through a similar thing when the recession happened and we were in a liquidity trap on the US dollar index, on the Nasdaqs. We weren't moving up or we weren't moving down. So that's what causes recessions. And currently we are in a global, I wouldn't say a big recession, but we are in a place where we've had 4 quarters of this year where like sort of big companies, things like Microsoft, things like Google, have shown like lower earnings in the quarters. And then when we have lower sort of quarter earnings and some companies showing net losses, that is called a recession. And so we are in a mild recession right now, just overall. We're just coming back from COVID, and that's another sort of revelation that gave crypto what it has. When we went through lockdown and we went through a phase where folks that used to go to their office spaces, that used to do their commerce door to door, had to lock up and adapt into a new normal. And I think we are currently coming back from that sort of 2-year hangover of being locked down, of having a bunch of uncertainty. And these things, they don't just stabilize over the year. I mean, if you look at how the recession in 2008 took place in 2007-8, it took us a good 4 to 5 years for the next sort of you can say levels to come in. So the reason I mentioned that is because we saw that with Web 2.0, and when Web 2.0 came in, we saw a bunch of these old sort of you can say your malls, your like in the UK we had Woolworths, we had big banks and everything declined that did not adapt. And then came sort of Web 2.0. Then we had our Facebooks, our Twitters, our Googles that became the go-to place. And I think Web 3.0 is going through the same phase where we are going through a mild recession. And as we start to normalize as the companies and we mentioned Visa, we mentioned others, those are the companies that will survive this storm. And I think I think maybe 2 to 3 years until we see a real settlement and a new normal. But that's just how it always is. It's how we go in circles, and then we go through a new evolution. So I think right now, especially with where DeFi is going right now. Can you guys hear me just fine? I feel when I go silent, I either talk to myself, but if you guys can still hear me, just say yes.
Yeah, we got you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Awesome.
It's just me and you. I'm just kidding.
Great. Now, as I said, like for me, this is a place where we are going through a bunch of storms, and people are feeling emotional about their investments, about what they've been through. But that's the same thing we went through with the .com bubble, and the same thing we went through the gold standard. So it's nothing new to me. That's where my degree is, and that's where my experience comes from. And it's just another cycle. And once we get through this cycle, then there's going to be mass adoption. It's going to start off with crypto bills. I think there's a bunch of folks that think that they can get away with sort of getting people informed into, these Telegram groups or anything. And then they take their tokens to like 100x, 200x. And then the first person to like take profit are the team and the developers and the main sort of VCs. And it leaves the little man with scraps to catch from. So hopefully, like when with this crypto bill in Brazil, I want to see how these sort of like meme coins and like all these sort of promotionals, like these celebrity sort of endorsements and a bunch of these things. I hope they sort of die out a little bit, and then we get through more utility.
Yeah, I agree. I think the timing is right now. I think we couldn't have timed this any better in terms of just, our value proposition for ARK, what people are looking to do with their finances right now. They want to still have an option for an income, but, attached to a stable. And yeah, I think that this next 6 months is going to be, a bit of a roller coaster ride, but I feel like, our time horizon and what we have planned coming up will stay us through that storm. And if we see that inflection point or a pivot point and people coming back to crypto, come late spring, we're going to be in for, I think, a pleasant surprise from an ARK standpoint. So,
absolutely. One cool thing that sort of gives me some encouragement is what's happening at Polkadot, because we had Gavin Woods. So Gavin Woods is the guy who created Solidity, the programming language that created Ethereum. So Gavin Woods is a person that was you can say the CEO of Polkadot. He created Substrate, and their pair chains are doing amazing and great work there. But recently, he stepped down to become chief architect, and in his role, what he's doing is pretty interesting. He's going through the real world use cases. He's speaking to real estate developers. He's speaking to the banking sort of clients, and he's working with like them to see how Polkadot can either encourage them to adapt or help them or guide them or educate them into using NFTs as a way of transaction, of using non-custodial wallets as a way of dealing with sort of peer-to-peer transactions with their clients and stuff. So he's doing and he's doing a bunch of good work. Hoskinson is doing a bunch of good work with working with the real world, and I think that's something that Vitalik Buterin this week kind of gave emphasis on. That we don't want to scare folks from using crypto. We want people to experiment with it, and we'll see how that sort of builds up from here. But yeah, like I think cryptocurrencies is going to be Web 3.0. It's the way to do things. and it is going to solve a bunch of issues in the banking industry and sort of the pharma and the medical industries with the amount of lags they go through on a day-to-day basis on just patient data is ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, like DeFi is going to be that layer that resolves a bunch of things, but it never is a smooth transition. I've never seen it in history. I think we go through evolutions where folks learn about new technologies, and then entrepreneurs and more professional established folks start to learn about ledgers and stuff, and that's why I enjoy speaking here, because we have folks in the real world that come back and sort of adapt. So yeah. Yeah.
It was kind of interesting here. I'm wrapping Christmas presents and just listening in, but all those things you just described with the real estate, the NFTs, the non-custodial wallet, that's all the same things we're doing with Bridge DeFi with our Bridge platform.
Yeah, it's very. Somebody asked in Discord. I don't know if they're here right now, and I sent him your way, but I think he said he already knew about Bridge DeFi, and he may have had an NFT as well. But yeah, we were having a little discussion in our Discord channel about that, because he was mentioning NFTs and building communities with shipping containers, and I was like, hey, that sounds like something, similar to Bridge Prop. Anyway, but funding those type of projects and getting people involved and fundraising through the NFT platform.
Yeah, it's good to see somebody with that fellow that Z was just talking about that's working on that. If he's the one that developed the Solidity code that Ethereum was based on, that's good to know he's thinking along the same lines as we are.
What I kind of feel is what happened is you had things like Yearn Finance, you had your sort of Ethereums and Polkadots that started off the utility of you can say cryptocurrencies and DeFi, and then either the crowd was put them off, or the amount of hacks that took place, it puts people off. But the ones that that are really like sort of integrating with the real world, they're actually making an effort. So Gavin Woods is someone that everyone should follow on Twitter, because the stuff he's working on with NFTs and also with the parachains is pretty encouraging. So I see a bunch of I think there's a huge gap. I think two things have happened right now. Either folks have been scared a little bit from like the FTX debacle and stuff. But when things like that happen, and it's important for folks from like Binance and other sort of DeFi platforms to explain to folks that like that is not what DeFi is about. Like cryptocurrencies should not be a place where a central of folk sort of character like Sam Bankman-Fried is able to do the stuff that he was able to do. DeFi is all about the voting mechanism. And that's how roadmaps get made. You have a DAO, and when you have a DAO, then you give the community a voting right, and then they become a big shareholder in your company, and that's where improvements happen, because both sides get listened to: the investor side, the customer side, and also the board of directors. So I think. These are things that will change the way, and it'll break down the layers of, you can say, management, the many layers of management that a company goes through, and really connect with because I think that's something that the real world needs help with, where we do have a disconnect between shareholder and customer. So we're going to see a bunch of these things. Like the storm is going to continue until we find solutions within banking, until we find solutions in real estate. But the folks that are like sort of adapting early to that are the ones that are going to sort of gain the most attraction. So this is the time to build. And a bunch of, like, you can say, influential folks are buying the dip as we speak, because The thing is, like right now, my repository of contact is when's the bottom, and no one's talking about buying tokens right now. People, but when prices reach all-time highs, that's when my phone's beeping much more, and folks are like, "Is this the right time to buy Bitcoin, or is this the right time to buy Ethereum or Solana or anything?" And when I told those folks that now is the time to like look into buying and waiting for a dip, like they're discouraged. So there's a bunch of the point is FOMO is real, and it's not the first time we've been here. We've been here in this is our fifth cycle in the financial world, in economies of scale that we've been through that. So DeFi and crypto is not going to be any different. But yeah, the product like all the big products in DeFi when it comes to staking, when it comes to NFTs, when it comes to many utilities like DEXs, they were all launched in bear markets. That's what makes ARK and I believe your sort of project in Bridge DeFi special because it's so much easier to like launch a product in a bull run. Because you give your community that 2, 3, 5x, the instant 2, 3, 5x, and then they receive a 10, 20, 30x over the bull run. But when you launch a project in the bear market and actually build your community and educate your community on utility, on its many sort of like use cases, that's when they'll be more prepared when the bull market comes, and they'll know about consensus mechanism. They'll know about how block explorers work and be more aligned with that. So hopefully through Discord, through partnerships like yours with Bridge DeFi, that we sort of build that knowledge base, and then when your community has that sort of layer on them, then when the bull market comes, they're well placed in their sort of investment, in their diversified portfolio of tokens and stables, and also in sort of staking mechanisms like ours. And it's great to see like even the Ultimo team here to be doing the work that you're doing, especially in the bear market, especially when everyone's scared to touch crypto, is encouraging. So yeah, it's been a while since I've been through a rabbit hole with you guys. It's been over a month, and I missed those conversations with you, Chris, with Neto, with everybody else. And we really like sort of like figure things out, or we sort of look into that. I mean, I think when you have an educated community, you really connect the dots in DeFi and in real world finance. So my background personally comes from e-commerce. So peer to peer is something that I specialize in. So to see sort of crypto. I think that's what even Vitalik Buterin talked about this month. He's like, if the person can sort of resolve ID verification using Ethereum, that person gets that sort of gateway. The person that resolves the e-commerce of sort of a transaction on Ethereum or Solana or any other token in stable coins, they're the ones that will catch the attraction of people. Because down to it, like as much as you can say banks and sort of governments have control, it's the people and what people want that gets voted in overall, and it goes through like layers and layers of, you can say it's never a smooth journey. It's always a sort of transitional period, and I think we are clearly in that transitional period where we're about 2.5 years into DeFi. We're about 12 years into Bitcoin, and maybe about 5 to 6 years into Ethereum. So there's a bunch more to develop, and also people should be following the stuff that's happening with XRP, because I think there's a bunch of lessons to be learned for the SEC on that side. And then in the other side, when it comes to BRIC countries, it's pretty encouraging to see how they are basically bringing in sort of crypto bills. I think Brazil is the first one. I want to see how China sort of reacts, and how India and other sort of you can say countries that have populations of 200 million plus, how they adapt. So DeFi is still got a bunch of storms to go through. But it's encouraging, and it's a good time to be building right now, especially in a bear market. I think that's all I'll say for now.
Let's get this crypto. We got an announcement. We want to let the community know that the legacy NFT rewards were paid out on time through the automated system at 12 a.m. UTC and 0.06 of a second. And we did the 2% there, but they had built up for 2 days. So the other 2%, we sent that out manually a couple of minutes after that. And that was actually not from the pool. So it was really a bonus that we came because we have it automated to only 2%. As you know, security is really important here. We don't want to contract that. You could change that variable very easily from the daily 2%. So that's to protect the whole pool. So everybody's been paid out. And yeah, happy to let everybody know that. I know Mr. Catalyst is going to be really excited when he sees that the second 2% was added to that. However, it wasn't taken away from the pool. So that's another great addition. Any questions or comments?
That's a great update, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. These folks are really getting some great returns through the legacy NFTs and also through the Spark rewards. So it's giving back, and we're seeing folks really understand that on a long-term basis. Those utilities really do, help your investment quite a lot. So you put out a new video, Mr. Donatello. Are you there, sir?
Yeah, I'm here. Just listening.
How's it going, brother?
Going well. I'm loving what y'all develop.
Tell me about this video. I haven't watched it yet. You sent it a couple hours ago, like 4 hours ago, and I've been busy, so I haven't watched it. Could you maybe tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I was just looking at all the different features with it, and I looked at how the chart is performing, which is pretty unique, and the way it's growing. It's growing not too fast, not too slow, but it's steady climbing, which is awesome. And then I went and looked at the BSC scan, and looked at the holders. And I noticed that there's not a whole lot to be sold on the market, which is good because this thing can climb a whole lot more. So even the highest holder, not including the contracts, but even the highest holder, if they decided to dump their whole bag, it's not going to really hurt the price. So it's really bullish, and at least in the short term is really bullish. But yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm excited at what you guys have built, and I know it's different from what I've seen in a lot of other protocols. And it's really the way it's built, even for the small investors, built for the small investors. You can capitalize off of it. Of course, I always do your own research on it, but they built something amazing. Looking at it from behind scenes, just checking out everything.
Yes, sir. Glad you get it, man. It's definitely not your grandmother's LMS, right?
Sure.
Happy days, guys. Happy days. I'm going to take a look at it. We're going to go ahead and post that here too, so everybody can hit the likes and support our good friend, supporter of the project, man, since back in the day, I think around maybe February, March, we've been talking to Donatello and his friends, Cult Leader, and all those good folks. So really nice to have his support through everything. We went and spoke to so many people and asked so many questions, and got their opinions and ideas. Some were really fantastic. We incorporated, others wouldn't really fit, what we're trying to do. But we've been blessed, guys, to have such amazing folks really have a hand in molding the clay of what you're really interacting with today, which is this fantastic, set of contracts. Go ahead and get this post ready for the community. Just bear with me, folks. And thank you for putting the time in, Mr. Donatello. Hey, for all you folks over here, we got 19 folks here live. If you could please, help the project and help Donatello out by opening up the link. It is pinned here in the channel. And if you could open it up and give him a like and a follow, he's a great person, great human being, and a great YouTuber as well. So let's hit the likes and do the follows, man. Let's help him out. I like to always comment on your videos, man. And I always say the same thing. Let's get this crypto. There we go, man. You got my like, you got my comment. And I hope the rest of our folks here. And if you're not here listening live, you're listening to the recording, please check out the pin post by Donatello. Check out the video. He's put a lot of work into it. He's very thorough and is a man that has a lot of knowledge and understanding. He's a great educator as well. So check out the video. Hopefully you'll learn a couple of things while you're at it. And, we're a community here, guys. We want to support everyone that is a part of it.
Subscribe, liked, and thumbs up for me.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, a lot of folks don't understand how much work goes into making a YouTube video. It is something that, when you start editing and getting these images, the whole thing is a process that is not simple. So, I always have a lot of respect and appreciation for the folks that are doing that.
Absolutely. It's a lot of work. I've been there. It's like you have to keep the algorithm happy as well, because I think usually like things like YouTube and other things are mainly focused around you can say memes and short-term spikes, but for a person to keep the crowd engaged in crypto is a big feat. So Donatello and others are big, landmarks, and soon, hopefully, you guys reap the big rewards. And when real mass adoption happens, that's like people like Donatello are the places that people should go to get real insights into vaults, into things like ArkFi and other projects. So, kudos to you, Donatello.
Yeah, and for me with YouTube, it's not, I know a lot of people do YouTube for the revenue, but for me, it's I see a big adoption. I've been in crypto for a little while now. I see a big adoption happening, and I think the more people get educated on where things are going, I think the better they'll be off regarding themselves, or even if they have families, to be able to educate their families, but also the better off the whole industry of blockchain will be better. And I think that not so much, you have a lot of people that push things, and they're pushing products just make revenue off of it. But I think the education is what's really needed, and people need to be educated on what this is about. And I know most people that I talk to, their mindset is so much on just the cryptocurrency side of it, but they're not getting the blockchain side, that where the foundation is laid at. And when they get the concept of blockchain and how it's so innovative in so many different markets, then they'll really get the full picture of what's happening here.
Absolutely. It starts, I think, with sort of even like anything from like YouTube or publishing or anything, it's got to be a place. You can't see it from a revenue stream point of view. It starts off with an interest, and then you have to go through the rabbit hole of interest to find really good content. So yeah, we've all been there. But yeah, you're doing a great job. I've been on your YouTube quite a few times.
Appreciate it.
And Donatello, are you hearing any talk of ARK on those crypto streets?
Yeah, the word's getting out. A lot of people talking about it.
What are they saying?
Well, I've been seeing people come to my chats and asking me about, have I heard about ARK? And I was like, yeah, I heard about it a long time ago. But it's still early. So, but yeah, you got to talk. So it's getting out. I know a lot of people. I've talked to a few people that kind of still skeptical because they've got another protocols. And they're just kind of waiting a little. And I just tell them just to buy a little, of course, don't put your life savings in there, but buy your little and just try it out, and then just steadily grow your account. But yeah, the word is getting out. I think it's still early, and I think within 6 months, depending on where it's at in 6 months, I think a lot of FOMO will start coming in.
Yeah, we know there's folks that are sitting on the sidelines, and we need those folks later. We always want to have folks coming in whenever they're ready. There's a lot of folks that we all know in this small little pond of the high yield ROI DApp space that are still in the cave. They're still hurt. They're still going through that cycle of loss because they've lost money somewhere else. And we understand that that's an emotional part of being a trader. Sometimes, folks just lose hope. But we've been able to carry a few of them, over here, show them the light at the end of the tunnel, have them do their due diligence, understand really, Donatello, what's different about ARK, which there's so much that is different. Even our NDV is not your grandmother's NDV, as they say. It's different. And as folks take the time to do their due diligence, spend some time here with us on the podcast, go through the white paper, look at the videos like yours, or SKs, those Medium articles are amazing. These folks are really going out there and putting that education and conveying what they've understood, that light bulb going up, off moment, that aha moment. I get it. I understand it. And then, they make their decision. But when folks are going through that sort of depressive state where they're just not really open to hearing anything, you could tell them, Jesus Christ has arrived. And they're like, we don't care. We're over here moping, depressed, flopping and groping and thinking that, the world's unfair. And instead of having a real conversation, looking in the mirror and being a man about, your losses, and maybe understanding that you were too over leveraged, that you didn't diversify your investments. Maybe you didn't take the time to do due diligence, or maybe you just picked the wrong team. And that happens in life. You could pick the wrong woman to get married to, right? And that could end up really ugly. So life's not easy, and people go through those cycles. But through that, we understand that it being a cycle, there's a time where they're going to want to come back, and hopefully they've been able to learn some lessons, and they're going to be wiser the next time they make a decision. And we believe what we have here to offer is very transparent, and it just screams safety, security, sustainability. So we've got a seat on the ARK for all of them. We're going to keep it nice and tidy, man. You know what I mean? Ready for them to come. And we're not going to just sit here and wait for them. We're going to go out and we're going to, touch land and all these ports all over the globe. Folks that are looking for passive income in the real world, those YouTube drivers, those gardeners, as we have on the website, the average Joe that wants to become a savage Joe. There's a seat for them here too, man. We're going to educate and bring them to DeFi, because that fiat sitting in the bank account's just decaying, cannibalizing at a very fast rate as, inflation's really taking over, devaluation's happening, and everything's becoming so much more expensive. The cost of life is going through the roof. So a little bit can go a long way. ARK is a high yield investment product that could be that hedge that folks are looking forward to. So are there any questions or comments? Guys, we're going to be wrapping up the podcast pretty soon, at least the recording, probably out for a little bit. And then we have let's see here, 2 hours and 20 minutes, it's a Korean podcast with Mr. Yudaman. Are you ready, Yudaman? You got your tuxedo? You got your tuxedo? You put the tuxedo on for tonight?
I don't know. I'll try my best.
Come on, man. You got to dress to impress. It's the ARK coming.
All right.
Hey, Udaman, while I have you on here, is there a way that we are going to participate? I think, is it on your YouTube channel, or are we doing it on Telegram?
So like this, we're going to use the voice chat, but this voice chat will be live on my YouTube stream. So our discussion will be visible via YouTube.
Okay. Is it on your Telegram channel or the ARK Telegram channel?
Which one do you want to do?
That's up to you. We'll come to your house if you want.
It'll be my channel.
Okay. Because I think we only on the banner we only have your YouTube channel. Is that right, Atlas? We may want to swap that out for his Telegram channel, or have both. I'm not sure.
Yeah, both maybe. Both would be a good idea. I can send you my Telegram group.
Yes, please do so, sir.
Sure, I'll do that.
Hey, so we're coming over to your place. You got the Christmas tree, and you got the warm cocoa, hot chocolate for a nice fireside chat with the Korean community.
Sure, yeah, you're right. We'll be ready. Hot cocos. Hot things.
Some hot toddy. We're excited. So you're going to be translating all of the good news about ARK.
Yes, that's right. So Korean, English, live translation.
How do you say, let's get this crypto?
Kaza. We do kaza.
Wait, can you say that again? It's a little simple.
Kaza. Well, I mean, kaza. Kaza. It sounds like Japanese, but after like crypto boomed, and it's a new word, like popped up. It's one of the new phrases. It's called kaza. Kaza. Kaza.
Kaza. So how do I get this kaza in Korean?
Kaza. It means let's go. Let's go. That's what it means. But we use that one for specifically for crypto.
Okay, man. Okay. All right. So we're looking forward to it. They've heard a little bit about ARK already. Is that right, Yudaman?
Yeah, another good word. Probably you can say ARK Kaza. ARK Kaza.
Akaza.
Yeah, ARK Kaza. That's one phrase. So let's go ARK. And then another phrase, good one to remember, be 감사합니다. That means thank you. 감사합니다.
감사합니다.
Yeah, 2
Well,
words.
the ARK Kaza certainly doesn't sound very good in Greek.
ARK Kaza.
That literally means Kaza would mean like, oh, stupid. Languages, right?
Really? What does it mean?
It's like Kaza is when you're talking about many persons being like stupid, funny, like stupid. And Hazo is like stupid, and like is like something you sigh and you say Haza. It's many words sound funny in Greek, bro.
ARK Kaza. I don't know. Let's get crypto. I think we don't have that exact phrase. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. Kaza.
Well, we could say ARK could save you from the tsunami.
ARK Nami.
Well, folks, if we don't have any other questions, let's give it another 20 seconds. We're going to go ahead and close out the recording for the podcast this evening. All right. So thank you, everyone, for coming tonight to the ARK Podcast number 52. It's been a pleasure hosting you, giving you the updates, answering some questions, giving away the Spark rewards, as well as the Legacy rewards, which you folks are really, really hyped about earning every day. The contracts are just working perfectly. The user interface is getting tighter and just more intuitive as we're getting feedback from all of you in the community on how we could perfect it and make it a so much more seamless user experience. So with that, we're going to be heading out in a couple hours to Korea live for a YouTube presentation, AMA, with Mr. Yudaman at Gosu TV. We will keep you updated and let you know tomorrow how it went this early. It's going to be like 3 a.m. our time here in Europe. And we'll be back at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 p.m. UTC. And guys, thank you for participating. If you're listening to the recording, thank you for listening. And we hope that you found this podcast informative. Have a great night.